So here are some quick thrifting tips. So number one, shop at the kids section. I found every single thing in this video that was a item of clothing from the kids section. The dresses, the shirts, everything. People avoid it because everything looks small, but actually they have like big kids clothing there, and also they have like sometimes they just mix things up and think it's a kid's outfit and we'll put it in the kids section. So if you're like an extra small to a medium, kids section is perfect for you. If you want to get items that I'm getting, like cute girly dresses and stuff like that, like you're not gonna find that in the adult section. I never find anything good in the adult section. When I shop the adult section, I find things from like Forever 21 and H&M, and it's like that stuff is already cheap and like low quality, so why would I want to buy it used and for a little bit cheaper? When I shop the kids section, I find stuff like from Limited Too, like vintage stuff like that, and I find like cute Hello Kitty stuff. I find cute crop tops, because they're not actually crop tops, they're just like normal kid shirts, but on somebody my size they become a crop top. My advice is don't go to just one store. When I got all this stuff, I got most of it in the first store that I went to, and I was really happy and satisfied, and I was gonna stop and go home, and then on my way back home I stopped at another thrift store, and then I found more stuff and I was even happier. So my advice is don't just go to one store and get like two things. Like go to 2 stores, 3 stores if you can, if they're all close by. Like luckily for me, all the thrift stores are like really close by each other, so I could go to so many at a time. If you have that luxury, don't go to just one store. Try to hit a bunch up in a day, and that's how you get a nice big thrift haul with a variety of things, rather than just coming home with like 1 or 2 good things. Everyone's wondering like, what's the best time of day? What's the best day to go to the thrift store? As opposed to time of day, honestly, I've gone there bright and early. I've gone there at the end of the day, the middle of the day, and I've found stuff all throughout the day. So I don't really worry about the time, because the workers are constantly going in the back and putting stuff out. So there's a pretty good flow of stuff coming in and off the shelves. So I don't really worry about the time of day, especially because I'm not trying to wake up early. However, it does matter what day you go. So I never go on the weekends. I mean, I'm not going to say never, because sometimes it's just the only thing that's convenient is to go on the weekends. But I never find the good stuff on the weekends. And that's because everyone has off. So everybody's going and everyone's picking through, and you're just really kind of getting scraps. It sounds gross. But when I go on the weekdays, I feel like stuff is just so untouched and no one's there, and I'm not like fighting for like just to squeeze in these tiny aisles. Like I have the space to go through each individual item. So a lot of people will just like look and scan and see the clothes and be like, oh, I don't see anything I like here, and just keep walking. And like when the store's really busy, that's usually what you do, because it's just, you don't want to squeeze in these aisles, you don't want to go through everything, so you just kind of get a general look and you're like, I don't see anything I like, and then you just keep going. But on a day where you go when it's not busy, like a Monday or a Tuesday, you have time to individually go through the clothes, and that's how I find things that I like. So don't just, like, my number one tip is don't just scan and dismiss the aisle. Literally go to the section that's your size and go through every single piece of clothes until you find what you like. And always what I do is I will just think like, what would this look like on me, or is this an item that I would have found on Depop? And if it is, I would buy it, and then I'll try it on later, and then I'll be like, I'm so happy I got this, even though I was like unsure about it. When I get first glance, I'm like, I don't really see anything in this aisle. But then I come back to the aisle, and then I literally go through every single piece of clothing in that aisle that's, my size section, and I end up finding way more stuff, because it's just all about taking your time. Like, don't rush through it. Just look at every single item, and that's how you will find stuff that you like. Because if you're just looking at, like, the pieces of the clothing in the aisle and just the sides, you're not going to be like, oh, this is such a great side of this shirt, this must be a good brand. Like, you're never going to find brands, you're never going to find cute stuff if you're just generally looking at the aisle and not looking at every individual piece of clothing. Yeah, so if it's really busy, you're not going to want to go through each individual piece of clothing, because it's going to be like you, and then it's going to be like someone right next to you, so you're going to like go through, and then you're going to stop, and you're going to be like, crap, this girl's in my way. It gets really annoying and really frustrating, so you just end up like passing up all these good pieces of clothing. So if you don't want to pass up all the clothing and you want to have time to go through all of them, go on a weekday, go when it's not busy, and go through everything. So and then another tip I have is like, don't just think that New York City is gonna be good for thrifting, because it's not. Brooklyn might be more, but New York kind of overpriced. And then for my New Jersey friends, I will give you my favorite thrift stores. So number one, for clothing would be Value Village in Hawthorne. That's where I got most of the stuff in the haul. Number two is Red, White, and Blue in Patterson. That's really good for clothing, shoes, and like little knickknacks. And that's where I got the nun doll. Number three would be Buffalo Exchange. So Buffalo Exchange is in Brooklyn, but it's if you're looking for brand name stuff, they always have brand name stuff. It's a little bit pricier, but it's always worth it. I didn't obviously get anything from this haul from Buffalo Exchange. However, I have gotten like really cute shoes in the past. I usually go there for shoes. They have like really good brand name shoes, like Fenty. I found like Rihanna's like Fenty platforms for only like $50, and they're usually like $150. So yeah, if you want to go there, I recommend it. Also, Buffalo Exchange is a chain, so it's not just in New York. Like, I've seen them in Atlanta, I've seen them pretty much all over. It's like if you just Google Buffalo Exchange near me, I guarantee like there's one near you, if you live in like a popular city. Another good place if you live in New Jersey is Plato's Closet. It's like it's supposed to be for like younger people. I'm not like a huge fan, just because there's like a lot of stuff from Forever 21 and like H&M, and I'm like, why would I want to get stuff from there used? But they do have some gems. I've gotten shoes from there before. They do have some gems. So another thrift store I really like is My Unique. It's in Patterson, but there's a bunch all over. Really, the one in Patterson's really big. It's like a huge marketplace, and it's just like the building itself is really beautiful. Is Udelco. I used to love Udelco a lot. I don't really like it as much anymore, but they do have a lot of vintage t-shirts and like vintage band tees, so if that's what you're into, totally go there. And I've also gotten really good like boots there and sneakers. But yeah, everything's just in like boxes. It's in like a warehouse, so it's kind of hard to sift through. And I don't know, but if you like flannels and plaids and like military items, they have a lot of that there. And then last but not least is Goodwill. I go to Goodwill in Wayne. So if you go in like a nicer neighborhood, you can find better stuff. But there are Goodwills all over. So Goodwill is not my favorite. I never really find anything good there. But it is just like a fun little, if you need another place to shop, that's another one. I think they're all chains, so even if you don't live in New Jersey, if you just Google My Unique, Value Village, Buffalo Exchange, Plato's Closet, there might be one near you. So definitely check it out. So here are all my tips. So 1, shop the kids section. 2, doesn't matter what time you go, but go on a weekday rather than a weekend, go when it's not so busy. 3, don't just generalize everything and then dismiss an aisle. Make sure you go through each piece of clothing individually, like rather than just looking at the aisle and being like, nope, don't like anything here. 4, don't just go to one thrift store. Even if you did really good at that store, if you're out and you have the time, go to another thrift store, get a big haul. That way you'll feel like you had a more complete trip. And also, I feel like if I get luck in one store, I also have luck in the other store. Don't be a lazy hag. And then 5, shop in smaller towns because things will be cheaper. Don't expect to find really great things in New York City.